After 10 years hosting Thanksgiving, I found out my family held a real dinner after I left, my sister said. She tries so hard, it's kinda sad. So next holiday, I cooked up something they'd never forget. Last Thanksgiving, I stood in my kitchen at 9 p.m., surrounded by dirty dishes, half-eaten pies, and the faint smell of burnt marshmallows. My feet ached, my cheeks hurt from fake smiling, and my chest felt hollow in that familiar way it always did after my family left. 10 years straight I'd hosted Thanksgiving. 10 years of cooking everything, buying everything, cleaning everything because I loved it. That's what I always told myself anyway. But that night, something inside me cracked. It started when I went on Facebook to post a picture of the spread I'd made. Turkey, stuffing, green bean casserole, all the usual stuff. I just wanted to see a few likes from my cousins. Instead, what I saw made my stomach drop. My cousin Emily had posted photos from another Thanksgiving dinner. It was at my sister's house. Same day, same people, same family, except I wasn't there. In the photo, my dad was laughing with a plate of food. My mom was in the background, wine glass in hand. Even my best friend, whose basically family, was sitting next to my brother-in-law. I scrolled down to see when it was posted. 4 hours ago, which meant it was happening while I was home scrubbing gravy off the counter, thinking everyone had gone home to relax. I felt my throat close. I texted my sister right away. Me. Hey, are you guys together again? Her. Oh yeah, just a small thing, leftovers, you were probably tired. Me, you didn't invite me. Her, it wasn't really planned. Don't make it weird. I didn't respond, but I couldn't sleep that night. I couldn't stop thinking about how fast they'd left my house. How they all hugged me, thanked me, and then probably laughed as they drove to her place for their real dinner. The next morning, I went to my mom's to drop off her casserole dish. She looked guilty the moment she saw me. You did such a beautiful job yesterday, she said softly. You really go all out every year. Then she said something that confirmed everything I feared. Your sister just feels bad sometimes. You try so hard, sweetie. It's kinda sad. She didn't mean it cruelly, but that sentence ripped something open in me. Sad, was that what they all thought? That I was some desperate hostess begging for love through a perfect turkey? I smiled and said, yeah, I guess I do try too hard. But inside, something was shifting. That night, I sat in my empty kitchen again and looked at my family's group chat. Messages about next time at Sarah's place, and so much more chill. I'd given them a decade of my time, money, and energy. They saw it as pathetic, so I decided next holiday they'd get something different. Something they'd never forget. And it started with a single list I titled Operation Family Feast. Hosting Thanksgiving wasn't something I was asked to do, it was something I took on. The first year was right after my dad's stroke. My mom was overwhelmed, my sister had just had her first baby, and someone had to step up. I figured, why not me? I'd just bought my first house in Kansas City, and I wanted to feel like I was part of something again after my divorce. That first Thanksgiving, everyone raved about how beautiful it was. I cooked everything from scratch, even made pumpkin rolls that took 2 full days. My mom teared up, my dad said he hadn't eaten that well in years, and my sister hugged me, saying, you saved the day, as usual. It felt good. It felt like maybe I had a place again. Then, somehow, it just became my thing. Every year, they'd text me around early November, you're doing Thanksgiving again this year, right? I'd always say yes. But over time, the thank yous faded. The compliments became rare. They'd show up, eat, drink, leave, and that was it. My sister would complain about traffic, my mom would critique my gravy, my cousin would bring her new boyfriend and say he preferred ham. Still, I kept hosting. Because the truth was, I needed it. My divorce had isolated me more than I'd ever admit. After 10 years of marriage, my ex left me for his coworker. Everyone in my family knew. They pitied me quietly but never really talked about it. I think hosting became my way of proving I wasn't broken, that I could still hold things together, that I could still make people happy. I poured everything into those dinners. Every tablecloth was pressed, every candle matched. I'd stay up until 2 a.m. baking pies, only for my sister to show up an hour late with store-bought rolls and still somehow get more praise for them. The weird part, every time I tried to hand off hosting duties, like suggesting, maybe someone else hosts next year, my sister would say, oh no, it's your thing, you're so good at it. But apparently, behind my back, I was the family joke. The try-hard, the one who didn't get it. After finding out about that secret real dinner, I started noticing things differently. My sister's tone when she talked about my cooking, fake cheerful with that little smirk, my mom's pitying looks, my cousin's whispered comments that stopped when I walked into the room. They thought I didn't see, but I did. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. So when December rolled around and my sister texted, "Are we doing Christmas Eve at your place again? Just easier for everyone, lol." I replied, "Of course. Wouldn't have it any other way." But this time, I meant something entirely different. Because while they were expecting the same warm, perfect dinner, I was already planning Operation Family Feast. And trust me, it wasn't going to be about food. I started planning a week after that text. Not the menu, not the decorations, the plan. Operation Family Feast wasn't about revenge yet. Not exactly. At first, it was about control. About taking back something they'd taken from me without even realizing it. If they thought my dinners were some sad cry for validation, I was going to show them what trying really looked like. I created a shared family spreadsheet for Christmas dinner prep. It looked innocent enough, just thought we could share responsibilities this year. Everyone could add their contributions. But I made sure every dish they picked came with its own trap. My sister volunteered to bring mashed potatoes. I listed herbed garlic butter as a key ingredient, except I knew she's allergic to garlic. My cousin Emily said she'd handle drinks, so I accidentally suggested the exact expensive champagne she bragged she couldn't afford. My mom insisted on bringing dessert, so I made sure to mention I already had a backup pie, just in case hers didn't turn out. Small things. Petty things, but it made me feel alive again. Still, that wasn't enough. I wanted them uncomfortable. I wanted them to see me, not as the sad, eager hostess, but as someone who saw through them, so I went deeper. I ordered custom name cards for the dinner table. At first glance, they looked elegant, gold script on cream cardstock, but each one had a quote underneath, something personal. A phrase each person had said to me or about me, though they wouldn't realize it at first. For example, under my mom's name, "You try so hard, it's kinda sad." Under my sister's, "She'd die before admitting she needs help." And my cousin's, "At least she means well." Subtle, cutting truths disguised as decor. The day before Christmas Eve, I cooked for 16 hours straight. The kitchen smelled like cinnamon and turkey fat, just like every other year. But I felt different. My hands didn't shake this time. My heart didn't ache. I wasn't doing this to please them. I was doing this for me. Still, I couldn't shake the image of that Facebook photo, the one of them at my sister's house, all laughing together. I must have looked insane, scrolling back to it over and over while frosting cookies. When the first car pulled up, my stomach twisted. My mom's, then my sister's, then the cousins, the in-laws, everyone, same people, same fake smiles. "Wow, you've outdone yourself again," my sister said, looking around. "I don't know how you have the energy every year." I smiled. "Oh, you'll see." We sat down for dinner. Candles flickered, plates filled. Everyone was talking over each other, wine glasses clinking. For a second, it looked like any other family gathering, until my mom picked up her name card. She squinted at the tiny words beneath her name, then frowned. Her eyes met mine. "What's this supposed to mean?" Everyone went quiet. Then my sister looked down at hers and froze. "What the hell, my name?" I just smiled, took a sip of wine, and said, "Just a little reminder of how well you all know me." They laughed it off awkwardly at first. But I could feel it, the tension shifting, the unease growing. I thought that would be the peak of it, just a little psychological dinner game. But what happened next changed everything. Because after dessert, when I went to bring out the coffee, my sister's phone buzzed on the counter. I didn't mean to look. But the notification preview popped up, and I saw the message. From my mom. "We'll do the real dinner here tomorrow. Just act normal tonight." I stood there with the coffee pot in my hand, staring at my sister's phone screen. That one text, "We'll do the real dinner here tomorrow. Just act normal tonight," felt like someone had reached into my chest and pulled something out by the roots. So it wasn't just Thanksgiving. It was every holiday. Every year, they'd come to my house, smile, eat my food, pretend to love it, then go to my sister's house later for the real family dinner. I froze, listening to them laugh in the dining room like nothing was wrong. My heart was beating so hard it drowned out their voices. I looked at the words again, just to make sure I wasn't imagining it. Nope. My mom really wrote that. Just act normal tonight. I felt something switch inside me right then. Not sadness, something colder, sharper. When I walked back into the dining room, nobody noticed anything was off. They were too busy arguing about football. I set the coffee down, smiled, and sat quietly. I watched them. Studied every movement, every fake smile. And suddenly, the whole picture clicked into place. My sister had always been the golden child. Perfect family, perfect house, perfect job. I was the one who'd messed up, divorced, childless, trying too hard to prove I still mattered. Hosting made her look generous, like she had this big-hearted sister who took care of everything. And my mom, she loved how it kept the peace. That text wasn't just betrayal, it was the truth they'd been hiding for years. I was the warm-up act. By the time they left that night, I was completely calm. I hugged everyone, thanked them for coming, and waved from the doorway like everything was fine. My sister even kissed my cheek and said, "This was really nice, maybe one of your best." I almost laughed. When the last car pulled out of the driveway, I locked the door and just stood there in silence. The house smelled like cinnamon and turkey again. The dishes were piled high. The candles were still flickering on the table. But instead of cleaning, I sat down and opened my laptop. I still had their secret, real dinner to think about. It took one Google search to find out my sister had posted an event on Facebook. Family Christmas, Round 2, private group. Only family invited, except for me. That was when I knew I couldn't just humiliate them, I had to expose them. So I clicked Join with alternate account. A burner one I'd made months ago, when I started Operation Family Feast. I joined under a fake name. They accepted instantly. Inside were photos from the past few years. Smiling faces, my sister's living room decorated perfectly, my mom's pies on the table, everyone laughing. And captions that made me sick. Nice to finally relax after the performance dinner at my name's place. Bless her heart, she means well. At least we get real food now, lol. Every post was like a knife twist, and everyone gave me what I needed. Proof. That night I stayed up until 3 a.m., scrolling, screenshotting, saving everything. Every comment, every picture, every joke. Because I just found my weapon. And next time, they wouldn't even see it coming. I didn't sleep for 3 nights after that. Not because I was obsessing over them. Because I was designing how to make them feel what I'd felt. The goal wasn't to ruin anyone's life. It was to make them confront what they'd done. The casual cruelty, the jokes that were never jokes, the years of treating me like a theater prop. I wanted them to taste embarrassment, to watch their little bubble pop in front of everyone they fancied themselves above. I printed everything. Every screenshot, every caption, every smug comment, laid out like evidence on my dining room table. I included dates, times, and a running tally of how many times they'd posted after leaving my house. I even printed photos of them at my sister's place with captions like "post-performance unwind." Seeing the printouts made my anger quiet and surgical. This was not a tantrum. This was a plan. Then I mapped the evening. Christmas Eve. My traditional crowd. My sister assumed she had a second round waiting the next day, so she'd be relaxed tonight. That gave me the advantage. I built the plan around a single, simple lever: optics. People love to perform virtue in public. They love to be seen as graceful, generous, and forgiving. I'd make that the stage and then pull the curtain away. Step 1. Invite a crowd that mattered, not just our family. I quietly reached out to a few cousins, my dad's old army buddies, and 2 neighbors who were close to my sister. I phrased it like, "I'm doing something different this year, intimate, cozy, would love you to come." No one suspected. My sister ignored the extra invites. She assumed it was still our thing, the in-house show followed by her after-party. Step 2. Evidence on display. I framed 3 of the most egregious screenshots and set them on the mantle near the Christmas stockings as if they were tasteful holiday prints. The rest went into a small album I left on the coffee table. Nothing aggressive, just there, easily found, tasteful enough that someone could say, "Oh, how poignant family nostalgia." But the captions were there, readable, undeniable. I wanted awkward head tilts first, then the quick realization. Discomfort is an animal that moves people. Step 3. Conversation starters. I printed a faux thank you card addressed to the family and left it on each plate. The card looked sincere on the surface. "Thanks for being my family." Inside, I'd written a short paragraph, literal lines taken from their own posts and messages about the performance dinner. I used their words against them. No embellishment, no lies, just their voices echoed back in black ink. I figured someone would read it aloud. Someone would react. People like to explain away things until you hand them the exact words they used. Step 4, a witness. I invited one person I trusted, someone who'd always told me the truth even when it made things awkward. My cousin Mike. He'd seen how I'd been treated and he'd promised, months ago, that if I ever wanted to call them out, he'd back me. He agreed to be the quiet anchor if things spiraled. I didn't want theatrics, I wanted accountability. Step 5, my own exit. I practiced saying 3 sentences in case I needed to leave. Calm, controlled, final. I did this for a long time because I loved you. I won't be doing it anymore. You can keep the tradition, just know what it was. If they attacked me, I'd hand them the printed album and walk out. Public exits are humiliating, so are the choices that cause them. By the morning of Christmas Eve, the house looked normal, twinkly lights, simmering cider, the turkey resting like a peace offering. But the mantle, the cards, the album, those were small, accurate landmines. I wanted nobody to be able to pretend ignorance. When guests started arriving, I felt a new steadiness in my chest. Angry relief had been replaced by a cold clarity. This night was a reckoning dressed as Christmas cheer. I poured the wine. I smiled. I waited for the small, almost imperceptible cracks to appear. And then my sister walked in, saw the mantle, glanced at the album on the table, and did the one thing I hadn't expected. She didn't laugh. She didn't scowl. She looked like someone who'd been slapped and then handed a winning lottery ticket at the same time. "What are you doing?" she asked, voice small. I put my wine down and told her in a voice I'd practiced, one sentence, "Just making the holiday real this year." She smiled, but it was brittle. Then she reached into her coat and pulled out something that made my heart drop in a way the screenshots never did. What my sister pulled from her coat wasn't a gift, or a card, or anything remotely sentimental. It was a manila envelope, thick, stuffed full. She placed it right on my dining table next to the turkey platter and said quietly, "You should probably see this before dinner." The room went dead silent. My mom froze halfway to pouring wine. My cousin Mike glanced at me uncertain. "What's that?" I asked, already feeling my stomach twist. My sister's voice had that same calm, pitying tone she used whenever she thought she was the grown-up in the room. "Something you left behind at Dad's house last month." She slid the envelope toward me. I stared at it for a long time before I finally opened it. Inside was a stack of printed papers, financial documents. Old ones, bank statements, credit card records, and something else too, a letter. It was a letter I'd written my ex-husband 3 years ago. I'd never meant for anyone else to see it. I'd sent it in a moment of breakdown, after our divorce finalized, when I was begging him to reconsider. The letter was pathetic. Desperate, I'd written things like, "I can be better," and "You were right, I need to learn how to make people love me again." I felt like I couldn't breathe. My sister folded her arms. "You really think you're the only one with screenshots, huh?" She said it so evenly it took me a second to register. "What did you say?" I asked, my voice low. Her lips curled just slightly. "You think you can embarrass us with a few Facebook posts? You've been the family's charity case for years, my name. The only reason Mom even lets you host is because she feels bad for you. You're the sad one with the empty house and the sad dinners. You think you're exposing us? We were protecting you." Protecting. That word hit like a punch. I looked down at the letter again, my own words staring back at me, raw and pathetic. It was a side of me I'd fought hard to bury. I whispered, "You went through my things." She shrugged. "Dad asked me to clean out the garage. You left that box there years ago. I found it. Mom said I should give it to you privately. I just figured tonight was fitting." That fake sweetness in her voice made my skin crawl. She wanted me humiliated. She'd anticipated I'd do something, maybe even suspected I had dirt on them. But she'd come ready to play dirty too. My mom broke the silence. "Girls, please, let's just have dinner." "No," I said, voice shaking but firm. "We're not pretending anymore." I looked right at my sister. "You've been hosting your little secret dinners for years. You've mocked me, pitied me, used me. I could live with that. But digging through my past just to keep your image clean," she smirked. "Oh, come on. You act like you didn't bring this on yourself." That was the moment it clicked. The real dinners. The behind my back jokes, the fake kindness, it wasn't random. It wasn't just her being petty or mom being manipulative. It was control. She wanted me to stay small, to stay the broken, grateful little sister who never quite got her life together. The more I served, the better she looked. And if I ever tried to break out of that role, she'd drag me back down. That realization hurt more than the letter ever could. I looked at the envelope again, then at the album of screenshots on the table. Two versions of the truth sitting side by side, mine and hers. I took a slow breath and said, "You shouldn't have done that." Her smirk faltered just a little. "Why? What are you going to do?" I smiled. "You'll see." Because what she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that the dinner was only half the plan. The real part of Operation Family Feast hadn't even started yet. Everyone was still frozen at the table. The air felt thick, heavy. My mom tried to diffuse it again, her voice wobbling like she already knew she'd lost control of the situation. "Let's not ruin Christmas," she said. "Please." But my sister, she didn't even blink. She just sat there with that envelope like she'd won. So I asked her straight out, "Why? What's the point of all this? You could have just told me to stop hosting if you hated it that much." She tilted her head, that same pitying smile she'd used my whole life. "Because it's not about hating it, my name, it's about balance." "Balance," I repeated. "You don't get it, do you?" she said, leaning forward a little. "You take up too much space. Ever since you got divorced, everything's about how lonely you are, how hard you're trying, how nobody appreciates you. You suck all the air out of the room and then act surprised when people need a break. The real dinner isn't to hurt you, it's to breathe again." The way she said it, so calm, like it was reasonable, made my skin crawl. She went on, quietly but with this cold precision that made me realize how long she'd rehearsed it in her head. "You needed to feel important and Mom needed peace. Hosting was the perfect solution. We come, we eat, we thank you, and then we get a few hours to just be normal. Without you hovering. Without your desperate need for everything to be perfect." I stared at her, feeling my heart start to pound. She looked right into my eyes and said the line that will probably echo in my head for the rest of my life. "Your sadness makes people uncomfortable, my name. That's why we keep it separate. You're like a," she hesitated, then finished, "ritual, something we do to keep you stable." I swear to God, she said it like it was an act of mercy. The table went quiet except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. My mom lowered her eyes. My cousin Mike just shook his head slowly, like he couldn't believe she'd actually said it out loud. So that was it. The cold, horrifying truth. It had never been about bad food or awkward family dynamics. It was about control. About keeping me in a box labeled the fragile one. They didn't mock my dinners because they were bad. They mocked them because they reminded them of the part of the family they didn't want to look at: failure, grief, divorce, imperfection. To them, I was the embodiment of everything messy they wanted to pretend didn't exist. My sister didn't host real dinners because she wanted fun. She did it because she needed to erase me, just for a few hours. She wanted to be the version of herself that existed when I wasn't in the room. That was the moment the pity I'd carried for her, thinking she was just jealous or insecure, evaporated. She wasn't any of those things. She was cruel in the quiet, practical way that looks like kindness until you peel it back. And now she'd said it all out loud. Perfect, because that was the final piece I needed, the confession. I stood up slowly, heart pounding but voice steady. "Thank you," I said. My sister blinked. "For what?" "For finally saying it." She laughed a little. "You're not seriously going to make this into a thing, are you?" I smiled, tight, calm, deliberate. "Oh, it's already a thing." Because while she'd been gloating, explaining herself in that smug, icy way, my cousin Mike had quietly pressed record on his phone. And her words, every single one, were captured crystal clear. I didn't say another word that night. Not after my sister's little speech, not after I caught the look of disgust on my cousin Mike's face. The room was dead quiet except for my mom's shallow breathing. She looked pale, like she was finally seeing what she'd ignored for years. I calmly collected the dishes, put them in the sink, and told everyone dinner's over. They started stammering. "Wait, come on. Don't make it dramatic. We didn't mean." But I just smiled and said, "You already did." They left one by one, muttering excuses. My sister lingered, probably expecting me to cry, to beg, to say we could fix this. Instead, I held the door open and said, "Merry Christmas, Sarah. Drive safe." She looked unsettled by how calm I was. Good, because she had no idea what was coming next. 2 days later, when the dust had settled, I uploaded the audio. Just that one clean clip, her voice, clear as day, saying, "Your sadness makes people uncomfortable. That's why we keep it separate. You're like a ritual, something we do to keep you stable." I didn't post it publicly. I sent it directly to the people she cared about most: her husband's parents, her boss, who follows her on Instagram, and the extended family group chat she thought I wasn't in. I didn't include her name in the file. I just labeled it Holiday Truth. Within an hour, my phone started blowing up. Texts from cousins. "What the hell was that, Sarah?" A message from her husband. "Why would she say that?" Even my mom called, whispering like someone had died. "You shouldn't have done that, honey." But I had done it. And I felt lighter than I had in years. By New Year's, Sarah's perfect image had cracked. Her boss had confronted her about the recording after someone forwarded it, and her husband's parents canceled their January visit. Even Mom finally stopped trying to defend her. She didn't apologize, but she stopped pretending. The best part? They canceled next year's real dinner. Apparently no one wanted to show up at my sister's house after all that drama. So I hosted again, but differently this time. I invited friends, neighbors, a few coworkers. People who didn't pity me. People who came because they wanted to, not out of guilt or habit. We ate takeout turkey, drank cheap wine, and laughed until midnight. No perfection, no expectations, just peace. Halfway through the night, I checked my phone. My sister had texted me for the first time since Christmas Eve. "Hope you're happy, you ruined everything." I stared at it for a long minute, then replied, "No, Sarah. I just stopped pretending." And that was the truth. For 10 years, I thought hosting those dinners made me part of the family. But the second I stopped begging for their approval, I realized something simple and brutal. Family isn't blood, it's whoever doesn't make you feel like a burden to be managed. Now, every holiday, I light one candle on the table just for me. No photos, no posts, no pretense. Just peace, silence, and a little satisfaction knowing they'll never forget the night their ritual finally ended. Because for once, the real dinner was mine.